Afternoon, guys. Here are the answers for the 6 questions that I set you this morning. So question number 1, 5.07 multiplied by 100. Now we know when we multiply by 100, 1000 or 1000, we use the dots method. So below 5.07, we need to put 2 dots because there are 2 zeros in 100. So we're going to move this number to the left because we're making it 100 times bigger. So if I move it once, I've got 50.7. If I move it twice, I've got 507 as my answer. Okay, question 2. We've got 2 mixed numbers which we are adding together. So what I'm going to do first of all is just move them down here, and then we need to convert these into improper fractions. So we do that by multiplying the whole number by the denominator. So 7 multiplied by 2 is 14, add it to the top, equals 15. Okay, and the denominator stays the same, so you're now left with 15 over 2. And then we need to do the same with this mixed number. So 3 times 3 is 9, and then we add that 9 to the top number, which equals 11. Okay, and the reason why I'm just crossing out these digits is just to make it clearer for myself and I remember what I've done so far during this number problem. Now I'm left with 2 improper fractions which I still need to add together, but the problem is that the 2 denominators are different, so we need to make them the same, finding the lowest common multiple. And the way that we do that is by doing our multiples of 2 and multiples of 3 until we find our lowest common multiple. So I'll do it with this number, 2, 4, 6, and I'm actually going to stop there because I know 6 is definitely in the 3 times table. So I'm going to do the same with the 3s, 3, 6, and I'm going to stop because that is the lowest common multiple of 2 and 3. Okay, now I found the lowest common multiple, but what I need to do now with the numerator is multiply it by the same number I multiplied the denominator by. So I've multiplied 2 by 3, 1, 2, 3 to get 6. So I need to multiply 15 by 3 to get to make it into a fraction which I can add together. So 15 multiplied by 3 is 45. So I'm left with 45 over 6 as my fraction. I've multiplied this 3 by 2, so I need to do the same to the top. So if I double 11, I get 22. So I'm left with 22 over 6. Now the denominators are the same, I can add these together. So first of all, I'm going to add the 2 numerators together. So 45 plus 22 is 67, and the denominator always stays the same. Now, because we started with mixed numbers, we must convert this improper fraction back into a mixed number. And I know that if I divide 67 by 6, I know that there are 11 6's in 67, and that gives me 66. If I take 66 away from the 67, I'm left with a remainder 1. So that 1 now becomes my new numerator, and the denominator always stays the same. So I'm left with 11 and 1/6 as my answer. Okay, going on to the next question. I'm dividing 2,200 by 16, so I need to use a bus stop method. Okay, and I'm going to put 2,200 inside the bus stop, and 16 is going to go on the outside. So first thing that I do is I look to see how many 16s are in 2. Well, there are no 16s in 2. So then I look to see how many 16s are in 22. Well, I know there's definitely 1. And 1 times 16 is 16. So I'm going to put that 16 below the 22. And I'm going to subtract it. So I start by subtracting from the smallest digit. So 2 take away 6 I can't do, so I need to borrow. 2 becomes a 1. The 2 becomes a 12. So 12 take away 6 is 6, and 1 take away 1 is 0. So I'm left with a remainder 6. I then need to drop my next digit in 2,200 down, which is a 0, to make 60. And then I look to see how many 16s are in 60. And that's where I need to go over to the side here, and I need to start using my partitioning method to work out the multiples of 16. So in this column here, it's going to go up in tens, because this one here represents a 10, and in this column here, it's going to go up by sixes, because this column represents ones, and there's 6 ones in this column. So once I've partitioned it, I can then add together, and 1 times 16 is 10 and 6, which is obviously 16. Okay, so again, I go up in another 10 here, and I go up with another 6 here. Then I add 20 and 12 together, which gives me 32, and that's 2 times 16. And then do the same thing, 30, 18, and then I add them together, which gives me 48, 40, 24, add them together, I'm left with 64. So I've now gone above 60, which obviously I can't do, so I then go to the multiple before, okay? And if I count them up, there's 1, 2, 3 16s in 60, and I'm left on 48. So what I do is I put that 48 below the 60, and I take it away, just as I did before in my last step. So 0 take away 8, well I can't do, so I need to borrow from next door. 6 becomes a 5, and that 0 becomes a 10. 10 take away 8 is 2, and then 5 take away 4 is 1, so I'm left with 12. I'll do the same thing as I did before in my last step. I then drop the next digit down, which creates a number of 120. This is when I now have to refer back to my partitioning method, and I need to then find out the next multiples of 16. So I've got 50, 30, add them together, that gives me 80, 60, so remember they're going up in tens, 36, these are going up in sixes, add them together, up on 96. Still need to go further, remember I want to get beyond 120, go as far as I can. So 70, 42, add them together, that's 112 I'm on, 80, 48, add them together, 128 I'm on. So now I'm above 120. So I need to go to the last multiple of 16, and then I need to count how many 16s are in 120. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 7 16s in 120, but I'm left on 112. So I need to put that below the 120 and then take it away like we did before. Okay. So start subtracting from the smallest digit. 0 take away 2, we can't do, so we borrow from next door. 2 becomes a 1, 0 becomes a 10. 10 take away 2 is 8. 1 take away 1 is 0, and 1 take away 1 is 0. So I'm left with a remainder 8. Now, there's no more digits. So what we need to do is, because remember in these numbers, there's always an imaginary decimal point there, isn't there? And that's when we go into our tenths, hundredths, thousands, and so on and so forth. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to put our decimal point here next to our 0, and we need to make sure that we put in our placeholder. Okay, and then that 0 drops all the way down next to the 8 to create 80. Okay, now we look to see how many 16s are in 80, so we can refer back to our partitioning method. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there are 5 16s in 80 without a remainder. So that then gives us our answer of 137.5. Okay. Within this method, this question, you've got 10 cubed. So what you are doing is you are multiplying this 10 by itself 3 times. So you're doing 10 times 10 times 10. Okay. And if you do 10 by 10 times 10, you get 100. And then if you times that 100 by the next 10, you get 1,000. So 1,000 is 10 cubes. Okay. But remember that you're not done, because you need to subtract a 1 from 1,000. And if you subtract 1 from 1,000, you're left with 999. 9. Okay, next question. You are multiplying. So now what we're doing is we're multiplying a mixed number by a whole number. So the first thing that you need to do is multiply the whole number by the denominator. So 3 times 5 is 15, added to the 4 is 19. So you're left with an improper fraction of 19 over 5, and then you're going to convert this whole number into a fractions, which is 3 over 1. When you multiply fractions together, you multiply the numerators first. So 19 multiplied by 3. Well, you might need to go over here and do a formal method. So 3 times 9 is 27, and then 3 times 1 is 3, plus the 2 is 57. So you've got 57 over 5 times 1, which is 5. Okay, then you're going to divide 57 by 5, and I know that there are 11 5s in 57, which leaves us on 55. If I take the 55 away from the 57, I've got a remainder 2, and my fraction is 2 over 5, or 2/5. So my answer would be 11 and 2/5. Okay, final question. You need to use your formal method for this one. 5,572 subtract 639. And all they've done there is move the answer box to the beginning of the number problem instead of at the end. So we always start by subtracting from the smallest digit. 2 take away 9 we can't do, so we borrow from next door. 7 becomes a 6, 2 becomes a 12. 12 take away 9 is 3. 6 take away 3 is 3. 5 take away 6 we can't do, so we borrow from next door again. 5 becomes a 4. 5 becomes a 15, and 15 take away 6 is 9, and 4 take away nothing is 4. So you're left with an answer of 4,933. Okay, guys, some questions there that require you to, that as quite a long process, quite a long method to work out the answer. And you know, in maths sometimes that does happen. Okay, to work out number problems. So if you do make any mistakes, please go back, check through my workings, see if you see where you made a mistake, and see if you can amend that, and see if you understand. If you don't, please get into contact with me. Big shout out to a couple of children over this week that have got in contact with me and asked me to go over some of the number problems that you faced in your My Maths work and also in the daily arithmetic. That's what I'm here for. That's what I love doing. Okay, so just make sure that you keep doing that. Well done, guys, and have a great weekend, and I will see you on Monday for our virtual trip. All right, take care, guys. Bye-bye.